Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the marriage subreddit. The post is titled, "I went through my husband's journal and in it he says that he hates me and hopes I die. My husband has kept a semi-regular journal throughout our 4-year relationship. He does not keep it hidden and up until now I have always respected his privacy. We had a heated conversation and my gut told me to read it, so after he left for work I did. He wrote several times that he hates me and at one point he said that when I was sick he hoped I would die. When I read those words, I packed up myself and our baby and went to a friend's house where I'm staying now. I took pictures of all the pages. I told him I just need some space to cool off after our conversation and that I will be home soon. I booked an appointment with my therapist and contacted a lawyer. We had a rough patch recently that lasted about 2 weeks. It was a dark time, but we pulled through. There was no violence, no moments when I was afraid of him, just sincere conversations about difficult feelings. The notes of hatred correspond with that rough patch. The rest of the journal is tame and reflects the man I know and love. Mostly little self-pep talks around work and family matters, goals, and habit tracking. He has sent me several warm messages since I left. He says he's glad I'm taking space for myself, that he looks forward to reconnecting when I come home, that it's okay to have little hiccups and that he loves me, etc. I was sure our relationship was over the moment I read that he hates me, but the warm messages and the rest of the journal have me wavering a little. Understand the need to blow off steam when things are tense, and journaling is a healthy way to do that. But never in even our darkest moments have I fantasized about his death. Splitting up maybe, but this feels so sinister. I don't know how I could ever feel safe around him again. Is this just healthy venting and am I overreacting here? Has anyone else had similar thoughts about a spouse that they then got over? Or is this a man from whom I need to protect myself and my baby? Edit to add context. The rough patch was about his feelings for another woman. He didn't cheat, but his friendship with her makes me uncomfortable. The part of the journal where he says he hates me was written as a love letter to her. He says he thinks about me dying and being replaced. For most people, I would think that hearing or knowing that your partner literally wants you dead is enough to end the relationship, let alone confessing that to another romantic interest. It seems pretty obvious given the information that the husband is lying when he says that he loves OP. User Few Faithlessness said he wishes you dead. And no, you are not overreacting. That is how he feels about you. Everything else is an act. You should check if he has taken out a life insurance policy in your name with him as the beneficiary. User Carler Way said it is over. He wrote a love letter in his journal to another woman. You know it is more than a friendship, no matter what he says to your face. Stay strong, contact an attorney, go to your home while he is at work and gather more of your belongings. I am sorry, don't believe his words now. He is seeing a strong woman stand up for herself and reality is hitting him in the face. Update. I hope I'm doing this right. Thank you so much for all the advice and words of encouragement. Some of it was tough to read, but it is still deeply appreciated. I wanted to provide an update because a lot of people were concerned for my safety. I took a commenter's advice and sent the pictures to a trusted friend. She pointed out that a passage I initially read as "every day I think about telling her" actually very clearly says killing her. I guess my brain couldn't comprehend that at first. I received a ton of helpful perspective and support, but that comment in particular might have saved my life. After I digested that, I called a crisis line and they were quite helpful in talking me through the shock. They also put me in touch with a center that is helping me get more affordable legal assistance. I bought some more time for my husband. I told him I'm enjoying getting out of town and that I'd like to stay an extra night or two. I have therapy tomorrow and an appointment with a social worker to make a safety plan. I feel like I have a good crew of family, friends, and professionals supporting me. I have absolutely zero regrets now about reading his journal. My gut told me something was off, but I couldn't have imagined a worst-case scenario as bad as this. I'm so glad the inner alarm bells were louder than my conscience this time. Nothing about this marriage is worth risking my life to salvage. Update 2. I just want to say a huge thank you to this community for helping me through a challenging time. Your comments and messages have been such a comfort, and I'm so touched by the kindness of internet strangers. At the suggestion of the social worker, I reported his journal to the local police, and that was a 1 out of 10 experience. The officer I spoke to chided me for reading his journal, spoke about his reasonable expectation of privacy, and basically threatened to tell my husband that I had reported him. I had to firmly advocate for myself myself and stressed that I was afraid for my life. It was an awful conversation, but now there is at least a record that includes photos of the journal. The family lawyer I spoke with advised me to file a protection order right away. The order would ban him from all contact with me and our child, bar him from our residence, my workplace, and any other places I request. He would then have to prove to a judge that he is a fit parent in order to see his daughter again, and then we would go to mediation to try to agree on what visitation would look like. Another wrench in this situation is that we own a business together. I have an appointment with another lawyer this week to discuss what my options are there. The business was my idea. I'm confident I can run it without him, but he's put a lot of time into it, and it's the main source of income for both of us right now. It's a good moneymaker, and I'm worried he'd fight me tooth and nail on this. We take turns going in, so I went as usual on Saturday. I continued my act of intending to reconcile by doing video calls with the baby, etc. While I was at our workplace, I found another journal. Page after page contained love letters to this other woman going back months. The progression from "I liked seeing you at the grocery store" to "I drove past your house today" was wild. He writes about how he's deeply in love with her and can't wait to marry her, etc. He wrote about every interaction he's ever had with her, and the poor woman seems completely innocent and oblivious. Even what he perceived as flirting seems like basic politeness. He mentions a few times that he wants me to die. The most recent entry was from the day before. He writes to her that he thinks I might be breaking up with him, but that's fine because he never liked me that much anyway. If he's upset about anything, it's just about losing the house and how the breakup will be perceived by our friends and community. I'm curious if people think I should warn the other woman. It's my instinct not to, at least not before the ink dries on our impending paperwork. I was already concerned about how he might react to being served with the protection order, most worried that he might try to sabotage our business or trash the house. Given how preoccupied he seems to be with his public image, I made a plan to confront him about the journals and use the protection order as leverage. Here's how it went down. I left the journal and my baby with my friend and went to our house with two trusted male friends. They waited on our porch. I told my husband that if they heard anything louder than a speaking voice, they would come in with the bat. I told him I had to tell him something he wouldn't like to hear and that he needed to know that I had already taken steps to protect myself. I told him I read the journals, specifically what he said about wanting me to die and thinking every day about killing me. I said I had taken photos, that they are backed up, and a trusted source also has copies. I also have the original copy of the journal full of love letters. Until this moment, I wondered if he had intended for me to find them, but he was obviously blindsided. He tried to say it was just venting, but I told him I would not be taking any chances or entertaining anything he has to say about it. After reading what I read, I will never trust him or feel safe around him ever again. I told him that no one who knows him is aware of this yet. The men on the porch just know that I'm breaking up with him and need support. This was true aside from the friend I called to stay with and the other friend I sent the photos to. I said I am willing to protect his reputation here if he cooperates with me. I told him that I don't even have to ruin his chances with the other woman, but I can. I said that he can either do what I need to feel safe or I can have that safety court ordered. He asked what I wanted, and I said I wanted him to give up the business. We'll sort out the details after I speak to the other lawyer, but for now I want his keys and I'll be changing the passwords on everything. He didn't put up any kind of fight. He didn't want to hear anything about what it would look like to go through the courts. He didn't ask about our baby. He just calmly got up, got the keys, and asked if I wanted anything else. I told him that any communication with me should be about separation logistics only, like arranging a time for me to collect the rest of my things. Since then, he has been blowing up my phone, saying he knows my heart. Let's walk back from the edge, let's talk to a therapist, he's sorry his words hurt me, etc. Each time I just tell him he's crossing my boundaries and he backs off. He apparently told his mom and sister everything and they're supporting him in getting help. He's been cooperative so far. He's interviewing for a new job, seeing a therapist, and updating me on his movements. I have temporarily moved in with my parents. My commute to work is longer, but I have help with the baby and home-cooked dinners. I'm starting to settle into new routines, doing so much therapy and yoga. I inherited a small cabin before my husband and I met. It is currently being renovated, and the original plan was to move in there with my husband and baby when it's done. The cabin is actually in my mother's name because she's never trusted my husband and wanted me to shield it from him in case of a divorce. So I will have a permanent home for me and my baby very soon. The dust still needs to settle and it could get worse before it gets better, but I'm optimistic at this point. I'm confident that I'm going to come out on the other side of this as a badass single mom with an incredible child, a thriving business, and an adorable little home. Honestly, the thought of having all those things on my own without my husband is so freeing. I've got a great village supporting me. Thank you all so much for being part of it. This next post was made in the true off my chest by a deleted user. The post is titled, "My husband doesn't know I'm about to divorce him. This has been my plan for 6 years. This is by far the craziest thing I've done, and I can't believe I suffered all these years staying with this man just so I could survive financially. The start of our marriage was wonderful. We had 2 babies. After the second pregnancy, he cheated on me with a very close family member. He gave me a lazy apology, and on top of that, he complained about my body. He also told me I was built like a refrigerator. Mind you, I was 4 months postpartum at the time. I secretly saw a family lawyer. To sum it up for you, I would be screwed leaving him. We only had $25K, and that being split up is basically nothing for me. No marital properties, no car. I didn't have a job, literally nothing. I was a stay-at-home mom. I applied for hundreds of jobs during that time and couldn't find employment anywhere, so leaving was a bad decision for me financially, especially with 2 small babies. Also, alimony and child support weren't going to be enough for me to live off of or survive with 2 babies. So I let him believe that I forgave him, and I continued being his wife. The very first time he cheated on me, it was with my cousin. Then he cheated again. He had a one-night stand with a random girl he met on a night out. I got so mad that I cheated back on him out of anger. Of course, he never found out I cheated, at least I'm smart about it, unlike him. During our marriage, I worked on getting my independence back. My husband paid for my trade school. It was a very expensive program, but he paid for everything. We moved and bought a house with his income. He grew his money too during all this time, so he made far more money now than he did when I originally wanted to leave him. I started working recently. I have a career now. I'm so happy about that. I haven't filed for divorce yet. He has no idea of my plans. I'm excited. I finally get to leave him after almost 7 years. Now I can walk away with at least 200 grand, and we have marital assets now like the house and the car he also paid off for me. Now I have my education and my own career. I've been working on my weight loss. I lost 66 pounds and he paid for my tirzepatide. I had a breast reduction and a breast lift. I look amazing. I don't doubt that I'll probably get remarried eventually. Everything in my life is finally set and going the right way. Edit. I'm laughing at the people who are mad at me for cheating back on him. What did you expect to happen? Am I supposed to stay loyal to my husband while he sleeps with other girls? You think I'm going to just go without sex for almost a decade? The marriage was already over the first time he cheated on me. It's hilarious that you people think otherwise on this app. User instructions unclear said, I hope you have a beautiful and gentle life with your children after all this is over. Wishing you extra sunshine in the early mornings and good health for your family without him. I hope your husband gets what he deserves. He sounds truly horrible. User Are You Kidding Me said, you know, at the beginning I was ready to start thinking, man, that's really something. To stay with someone for so long just to milk more money and assets out of them. But then you mentioned how he cheated on you the first time with your cousin, showed no remorse whatsoever, body shamed you when you were going through the first few months of postpartum, and cheated on you again. Honey, you should milk that man like a farmer would milk a cow. Milk him for all he's worth. You withstood the storm, and now you are the storm. To this OP said, I was really about to back out of my plan one day when things were very hard, thinking if it was really going to be worth it. I'm glad I stayed. I don't regret it. It's not just the money that I gained from the divorce and the assets, but it's also my new career. If I had divorced him sooner, I wouldn't have a good job or anything to fall back on. I wouldn't have had an education if I had left him. I was able to go back to school debt-free and focus on my education and obtaining my certification. I'm in a way better position now than I would be if I had divorced him 7 years ago. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersubs. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.